Good morning and welcome to In The Treehouse. My name is Lianne, I'm the marketing manager at the National Memorial Arboretum. If you've watched one of our In The Treehouse videos before, you'll know that they give you a peek behind the scenes into the work of the Arboretum, and it's a great way to learn more about some of our projects and also our team. And today we're joined by Ange Howe, who's our Head of Support Services. Ange's teams are normally busy working away behind the scenes, but one of the teams that you'll be incredibly familiar with is our team of volunteers who work throughout the year to ensure that our visitor experience is amazing. And Ange is going to be talking to us today about the volunteers and how you can get involved in volunteering if that's something you're interested in. So good morning, Ange.
Good morning, Lianne.
Good morning. And a really simple question to start with. How many volunteers do we have at the Arboretum?
We have just over 210 volunteers at the moment.
And visitors will be very familiar with the work that some of the front of house roles do. So we have volunteers in our restaurant and shop and welcome area and on site as well. But can you tell us a bit more about them and some of the volunteers that people might not see a lot of?
I can, yes. As you say, we've got a large number. Most of our volunteers are actually within our visitor experience team. So, as you say, meeting and greeting visitors when they arrive on our retail and our sales desks. We've also got volunteers who are out on site, guiding our visitors around the site, pointing out different memorials and different places for families to visit. And then some of our more experienced volunteers do guided walks and talks as well, and also some even do talks externally as well to groups. We also have volunteers within our grounds team, so undertaking duties such as weeding, general grounds maintenance, looking after our memorials, cleaning plaques, and also in our mapping team as well within the grounds team, so mapping all of our memorials and our trees across the site. We've got our food services team as well, so volunteers within that team working, supporting the team in our restaurant and our coffee shop, and also helping out at aspects as well, our events building, so on our functions and events, so helping out there. So we've got a large number of volunteers. We've also got participation and learning, so a team which support our learning offer, so when we've got schools and other learning events coming onto site. And caretakers, we've got a number of caretaker volunteers as well who provide a lot of support. Events volunteers helping out on some of our big events that we hold throughout the year, such as Illuminated Arboretum, outdoor cinema, our proms event. So yeah, a wide variety, and I shouldn't forget our admin team as well, so helping out in marketing. I'll be in trouble if I forget anybody. I'll be in big trouble. So yeah, our marketing team, our friends membership, we have a volunteer who helps support that. So yeah, all a wide variety of roles.
Anywhere in the Arboretum, I think there's a volunteer.
Absolutely, yeah, pretty much, absolutely.
The ones that there's two volunteers in our team, and I think they just make my life a lot easier, and also you learn from them as well, so they've got experiences outside of work before they arrived with us, and it's really interesting to kind of listen to their experiences and things like that.
It is, absolutely.
So we have volunteers on duty anytime at the Arboretum. Do you know how many hours that they've donated in terms of volunteer time?
Yeah, it's funny because we quite often get asked that question. So obviously at the moment it's slightly different because of the restrictions. So we have got a lower number of volunteers at the moment. But last year there were 40,000 hours of volunteering time was given. The year before, which obviously was more of a normal year, there were over 60,000 hours. And we've got a fantastic system that we use to calculate our hours. And even though we're not at anywhere near full capacity at the moment as far as what we can offer our visitors, we've already this month 1,900 hours for the month of April. So it's a substantial amount of volunteering time that's given freely to us, which is fantastic.
And some of them have been with us for a long time, haven't they? So they will have lots of experience. There's some volunteers who've been with us for like 20 plus years. In terms of the experience for somebody who is considering volunteering, do you need to have that level of knowledge before you consider volunteering with us?
No, not at all. So we train our volunteers. We have an induction programme, and then we train volunteers specifically for the role that they're interested in doing. So they don't need to have any previous experience at all. We train them in their particular role. So for instance, if people do want to gain more experience and do guided walks, that's something that they can do, but they don't have to know all the knowledge straight away. So they will work with our visitor services team. They'll be trained as they go along on things that are specific to their role. So you know, again, if people don't want to be out there delivering guided walks to people, they want to be meet and greeting, or they want to be on our sales desk, they'll receive training that's actually relevant to that. So the main thing for us is that people who want to volunteer have got the enthusiasm, that they've got that the drive to deliver world-class customer service, because in all of our roles, really, wherever they are, it's all about delivering good customer service. So we want people who are enthusiastic, who are passionate about the Arboretum, who collaborate and work with other members of the team and value each other for what everybody brings to the team. So that's the most important thing to us, really. Everything else we feel, you know, can be trained as we go.
And there's always things that you can learn as you go along, and new in terms of our team, when we introduce new technologies and things like that, we're all learning together anyway, so you can always ask questions from somebody.
Yeah, and the volunteers who've got longer service as well actually take great pride in training some of the new volunteers as well, so which is great to see. So yeah, and it can be taken at a pace as to what any individual volunteer wants as well. So it's not set in stone that you come in and you must have done certain things by a certain time. People might come in and start and decide they're working in the food services department, and after being in there for a while might decide they'd like to actually go and work in the grounds or help support some of our learning offer. So there's lots of opportunities for people. You're not actually pigeonholed into one department either, so there's lots of opportunities there.
And is there a minimum or maximum age for a volunteer?
There's no maximum age for anybody, so maximum isn't an issue. Minimum age, we generally say 18 years and over, but we do also have Duke of Edinburgh volunteers as well, so which is great. So we've got a programme where we've got some mentors, and they will mentor them as far as they're linking in with the Duke of Edinburgh award scheme. So we've got some volunteers, very active volunteers at the moment on our team. So, and I think, Lianne, I think you started as a volunteer here at a very young age.
A long time ago now. Yeah, it was really,
yeah.
It was useful to learn, I guess, when I came from university, it was useful to learn things that I'd been actually reading about and put them into like a practical use as well. So that was really useful, and it was really helpful for my CV as well.
Yeah.
So there's lots of volunteers who've got lots of experience. You know how many years collectively the volunteers have given? So we've had the number of hours. Do you know how many years?
Yeah, I was actually asked this not long ago when we were looking again for our 20th anniversary. So yeah, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, our longest serving volunteers are over 20 years. So we've actually got one volunteer who's done 24 years service with us, which, as you say, it's before the Arboretum officially opened. So there's a number of volunteers that have been with us for a long time. So it's actually over 1,200 years in total of service for the current serving volunteers. So that doesn't include all those volunteers over the years, over the last 20 plus years that have volunteered for us. So I'm sure, you know, it'd be great to actually do that research at some time and actually find out the collective number over the years, over the whole history of the NMA. But it's a staggering amount, and we like to value the service of our volunteers. We've got a scheme where we recognise their contribution at 3 years, 5, 10, 15 and 20 years, and we're hoping to be able to award our first 25-year service award next year to a volunteer.
So as we approach our 20th birthday, is there anything you'd like to say to the volunteers?
Yeah, it's just a massive thank you from all of us, from the whole team at the NMA, but also our visitors, our customers, current and past, because without the volunteers we wouldn't be able to deliver the service that we do in any of our areas. That includes our back of house teams, you know, what goes on our you know, not just front of house when people are actually here on site. It's all the work that goes on behind the scenes as well, and maintaining the grounds, and, you know, turning the Arboretum into such a fantastic place that it's developed into over the years. Without the volunteers we wouldn't have been able to do that.
I know they certainly make our job easier in terms of sharing knowledge and telling us stories and sharing our stories. So
yeah, and they're great for, you know, as you say, for getting the knowledge from them as well, because you know, if you want to know something about a particular memorial or some part of the NMA's history, you know that you can just ask the question and there'll be a volunteer out there that will be able to help you. So absolutely.
And in terms of future volunteers, if somebody was interested in volunteering, what would they need to do?
So when we've got vacancies available, we've got a volunteer section of our website, and we're actually just about to open up recruitment again for positions within our grounds team and also our visitor experience team. We put on there's a number of different role descriptions, so anybody who's interested can actually have a look at those roles and see if it's something that might suit them, and think whether they've got the skills and the desire to do that type of volunteering role. So they can apply online as well. So there's a link there for the application form, so that will take them through to apply online, and then there's a short interview process which would take place with the line manager for that volunteering department.
So we'll obviously, when that link goes live, we'll share that on Facebook. So I could talk about the volunteers all day, so I love them, but I'm hoping to get some of them to come and talk to us on an In The Treehouse in the future. So I won't steal any of their thunder now, but thank you for joining us today. Lots has changed in the last sort of 20 years as we've grown and developed. And I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he was saying that in the first week, the volunteers welcomed 3 people to the site.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. So I know that thankfully we can welcome more people than 3 now, but the experience and that the people receive will be exactly the same. The welcome that people receive from the volunteers today will be the same as the welcome they received all those years ago.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I want to say thank you to the volunteers, and fingers crossed we'll see a few of them in a few weeks' time. If you see the volunteers walking around the site, they all wear green, so please do go and speak to them. They like to answer questions. They can recommend areas for you to visit on site or just tell you about their work. So do say hello to them. And thank you to Ange for joining us today and answering the questions. And we'll see you on another episode of In The Treehouse soon. Thank you.